Namaste. And first of all, I am glad you use the word auspicious day because very often I see people turning it into, I don't like to use the word, but a day of mourning. And the mother very clearly said something very powerful. To grieve is an insult to Aurobindo, who is always with us, among us, helping us, guiding us, protecting us, leading us, carrying us through the journey. So I'd like to begin this with a few lines from Savitri, where the secret of the withdrawal of the divine after he has taken a mortal human body is revealed to us. It's revealed at several places, but one of the places very big in the very beginning, page number 5. Dawn, the goddess comes and then she withdraws. And it is about the divine withdrawing. First, when the divine comes, he lights up into miracles, common shapes, all common ordinary humanity. He touches and uplifts. Paritranaya Shadunam, as it is said, those who are ready. He also removes all the obstacles that gather in the path as humanity goes through the cycles of evolution, much as in our own life, when a child is born with many possibilities. But as the child goes through life, lot of complications come in. Why? Because there is this mind, some entity called the mind, and lot of complexities come in because the mind and the vital, basically, and of course the earth nature, physical itself, which is susceptible to many problems. So the straight path of the child, which in its pristine innocence seeks for wonderful things, dreams of wonderful things, we see that its whole journey enters into very endless complex routes. And then through a long passage, if some are lucky, they discover their soul. But most unfortunately spend a whole lifetime dealing with these complexities which they have created, we have created, let me put it like that. And it's postponed for the next life. So this is one of the mysteries of death itself. So when similarly the body of the earth develops many layers of collective human experience, and through this journey the march is going on. Savitri describes the bivouac fires, through the bivouac fires, the camp, the marches, the army of the way lost God. So we are the way lost God. And through all the challenges, difficulties, if we look at last, say, when was the last avatar, if we take in the line as Buddha and Shri Krishna, nearly 4,000 years at least have elapsed. And they cleared the path. A lot of things are cleared with the coming of Buddha. Buddha broke away all those human ritualistic understanding of what the divine is, and showed them a eightfold path to arrive at that state of permanence. Shri Krishna released upon earth bhakti, devotion. He secured India, and in a way India was necessary to be secured for the world to be secured. But then again we see last 1,000, 1,500 years, 2,000 years, slowly, if we take India as a Yagyavedi, forces that start coming to destroy it, and the time comes when there is once again the night, and that's when Aurobindo comes. So when the avatar comes, he clears the passage, and this passage continues. For this clearance helps humanity march for another 2,000, 3,000 years. But if it is just a question of march of humanity, many vibhutis can do this work. We know that even during the dense darkness, there have been two kinds of vibhutis. The heroes who have protected the truth, the right, who have stood up for justice, who have stood up for in a way preparing humanity to go through the struggles and challenges. And there have been the saints and sages who have always shown the way towards God. Never has there been on earth a time, as it is said in Indian thought, and so true, never ever there has been a time when earth was left abandoned totally. Always there have been saints, sages. So what do? They show the route to God. So they sustain the spiritual thirst in mankind. And so the human journey goes, yet there comes a time when darkness begins to weigh, or let's say the cycle of time changes, and it has to be, a way has to be found One, to go beyond what the saints and sages have taken us, because now something new has to come. Something yet beyond, a greater beyond, because divine is infinite. And a new chapter has to be written in the history of evolution of life upon earth. And at the same time, darkness has to be removed. So the divine comes, because this task can no more be done by only saints and sages. So avatar, what is the avatar? So sages and saints show us the way to find the divine, who is deep hid within. And it's not easy. It needs tremendous sincerity, tremendous aspiration, commitment, one-pointedness. Making a religion is easy. That everybody ultimately ends up doing. But to once again recover the Christhood, to recover Buddhahood, to recover Krishnahood is the challenging part. And that humanity for a long time cannot sustain. It tends to turn it into religion. That's one of the ways it destroys a profound truth, or at least, it takes away its greatest strength. So, yet these saints and sages show us the difficult path through which we can realize the divine. But sometimes it happens that the Jagat Guru, the master of the world, you have this Jagannath Yatra where he steps out. It's a very interesting, not just a fable, but it's observed as a ritual that once in a year, or I don't know, I think it's once in a year or twice in a year, Jagannath, the Lord of the world, he steps out for a week. I am not going into this story. But there are times when divine, instead of being so far within us and on the heights, he's always within us, but it's not easy because there are several veils and layers. So he pierces through the veils and the layers, or rather he wears those veils and layers and assumes a human body. Now what happens when the divine assumes these layers, including the densest of layer, the material? It's a conscious birth. Now these layers begin to become illumined by his rays, by his consciousness. So automatically they become thinner and thinner, and when the divine manifests upon earth, ultimately human beings can access him through these mortal eyes which are not meant to see the divine. So something of that mystery and glory begins to shine through the forms. We'll see this in all manifestations of divine, all the avatars, very few of course. Unlike we see the path of the saints and the sages. In saints and the sages, they are noble, they are nice, they teach us very beautiful things and they give us a path. But when the divine manifests, just a look, and we have these, with Sri Aurobindo and the mother, we have right now, history is not yet history. With Krishna we see, with Rama we see, and the descriptions we see, that how the mere presence of the divine in a material body helps us take leaps. Why? Because now these eyes begin to see or behold in a mysterious way. We have this story of, when the mother would give meditation and some will sit on the left, some will sit on the right, and people will close their eyes, but Amal Kiran would always keep his eyes open. And mother also used to keep her eyes open. So somebody asked, why don't you meditate? It says, when I am seeing the Jagdamba, the divine mother, right in front of me with these mortal eyes, why should I shut my eyes and go within? And we know these stories. So this shock of the divine coming within the range of our mortal vision and mortal senses, we cannot imagine what it means. It suddenly makes the heart leap, the mind jump across the fences of ignorance. The soul wakes up. It doesn't have to wake up through a slow process. Earth consciousness suddenly wakes up. It's in great joy. In fact, earth experiences it much earlier than human beings, because earth does not have those complexities as this what we see described in Rama's birth, Krishna's birth, mother's birth, that earth suddenly becomes aware that, oh, divine is coming. It doesn't use that word, but divine is coming. All nature was at beauty's festival. Human beings are the last to understand, because human beings are too complicated creatures. So animals, plants, they understand, they feel that divine touch. Nevertheless, this touch comes, it rejuvenates, invigorates, it acts like a leaven on the dove, and most importantly, it sows seeds of a new creation. Every time the avatar comes, a new creation. Of course, this is the new creation in a certain sense. But every time a new consciousness comes, a different consciousness, it is a new creation. So we see that in between the saints and sages, what do? They prepare the soil. Otherwise, the soil will be very hard and rocky or too soft. So they prepare the soil. They keep nourishing man's thirst and hunger. And one day, the avatar comes and he puts some seeds. So first thing, we must understand the difference between Sri Aurobindo, or in fact the avatar, and saints and sages and seers. Each one has his own job. The person who prepares the soil has a great work, but he doesn't have the seeds of something new. And the divine, as an avatar, he puts the seeds of a new creation. We see this in the story of Krishna when he brings Parijat, and this is a very symbolic story. So they give a new path, like Buddha we see, gives absolutely a new way. And Rama, he in the animal world, so on and so forth. And now Sri Aurobindo, as the divine farmer, he comes to sow the seed. It has been prepared through a long journey. So there are some who are waiting. Sri Aurobindo says, Mother says, they have been waiting. We have this line in Savitri: a world's desire compelled her mortal birth. Waiting. People must have felt the anguish. Where is the divine? I want the divine to be here. When will he come? And suddenly in response, divine comes. A wonder from the other countries. He opens the path, clears the veils, confusion, and opens once again the path, absorbs lot of darkness, annihilates it. And then when it is done, he withdraws. But what does he do before withdrawing? He leaves a stamp on matter. So what does this stamp on matter do? I'll take an example. Your very dear friend comes, and I'll take two examples. One is a very dear friend, long cherished friend, suddenly shows up at your residence. You're very happy. You greet him, treat him, whatever. After a few days, the friend goes. Now what happens? There is a longing. You cherish the gifts. Oh, my friend had come from such a far off place. You cherish those gifts. And the other example is when people come here. They breathe this atmosphere, and after some time when they go, for a long time they are sustained by this atmosphere and they long to come back. So this is the first immediate action of the divine. Paradoxically, this doesn't happen when they stay here. Because sometimes, it should happen. Let me not be. But it becomes difficult because you are surrounded by so much water. You know that you can drink any time. That the thirst tends to diminish. It's a strange paradox. Whereas when people go, the longing. You see, when Krishna is with the gopis and gops, even Brahma is wondering. You see that these two stories have to be linked. Brahma's story of Shri Krishna, where he wonders, why is Krishna behaving so friendly with all these? They don't know he is Parabrahm, Parmeshwar, and so on and so forth. But Krishna is Krishna. There is none else but Krishna. For him it is not others. But he does a mischief, and that's another story. I'm not going into it. But this story has to be connected. So he is playing with all of them, and they think he is their friend. So they put their arms around him, like Arjuna also, and they take him to be just another regular, but a little unusual, But what happens when Krishna withdraws? Sri Aurobindo says it releases the streams of bhakti. Krishna's exile from Vrindavan. Suddenly, now people are longing. Till date they are longing. So this is one of the reasons why the divine withdraws, because we are not ready. We take his presence for granted. Of course, that's not the only reason, but suddenly the heart of earth is filled with a tremendous aspiration. You see how people now seek Sri Aurobindo and come from afar. It's a strange thing. When Sri Aurobindo is physically present, it's a language, human language is very inadequate. Till 1950, there were just about 200 inmates of the ashram. Maybe another few hundred followers. Today, 200, even in ashram itself and world over, so many. Why? Because we don't realize how it's like an explosion all over earth. Matter is lit up. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? So many people had this experience. And that's what is described in Savitri. Then the divine afflatus spent, withdrew. This spent in the form, sense that what work it had to come, he finishes. Then only he withdraws. It's not like he withdraws to activate it. But the result, one of the results of this withdrawal, unwanted fading from the mortal's range. Because he came so readily. As they say that if something comes without struggles, unfortunately, we don't value it. That's how the mother puts it, and that's one of the saddest paradoxes and tragedies of life, I would say. That we need shocks and blows. Otherwise, when the divine is there, we forget the divine and we remember the met forecast. Because we believe in that much more than in the divine presence. So this is the unfortunate part. But then, when the divine withdraws, what happens? A sacred yearning lingered in its trace. So many people who suddenly after Mother and Shiva was physical, there was someone who used to, I won't name well-known person who would sometimes come to the Samadhi and he wanted to dig the Samadhi, saying Mother is wanting to come out. Of course, this is not, it didn't mean that way. It meant that from within matter, she has now implanted herself in matter. Wherever there is matter, Aurobindo and the mother are there now. They have become part of the earth's embodiment. Who will awaken, who will become aware of their presence is a different story. He knows, and who is ready, who is not. But after the withdrawal, suddenly, people often ask, when will he come? He'll come again in the supramental body. So often this answer is when we are ready. Let's take ourselves, be ready. This second coming story is always very fascinating. Everybody predicts. And it's so paradoxical in almost all religions, at least in Christianity, Buddhism and Hindu thought. There is this idea of second coming. But unfortunately for the second coming, it is invariably that when darkness has to come, dharma siglani, why all the signs, if you read the Christian gospel, it is that when will the second coming come? When again there is so much of darkness, just like Christian thought. But second coming should be a decisive coming. It should not be a coming when we are going through the same cycles. That's why the mother gave the message. Aurobindo deliberately gave up his body. When she asked to resuscitate, he said, no, I have given up this body deliberately. And I will come back in the first supramental body formed in the supramental way. Then itself it was very clear. And that's why I keep saying often that when people say mother's body, mother, even if she finishes the supramental body, that's a different subject. She would not do it. She will keep that little bit because Aurobindo has said first supramental body. His body should be the first supramental body. So this is how the divine, when he goes, suddenly there is a say. So that's going to be the decisive coming. That's why in Indian thought we have the last avatar. Why there is the 10th avatar as the last? Because the one cycle of evolutionary journey will be over. After that, the divine, in which way he will come, what he will do is a different story. But at least there will be a leap. The whole evolution till the last avatar is always struggle, battle, fight. That will go away. It will be a progress from freedom to greater freedom, light to greater light, because with the coming of the supramental consciousness upon earth, the mind of light has been formed and is forming in more and more humanity. The mind of light will ensure. It will no more be a journey through ignorance. So what does the mind of light do? Since we have mentioned about it, it may trigger certain questions. Very simple. Right now, mind is blind. So it's like a blind person who is walking on the road and falls. Now when this is the mind of light, it's not that one will not fall, because vital may go one's own way, but the mind will caution. When you fall, the mind will know you have fallen, and the mind will help you to come out and tell you. It will keep reorienting. Look here, goal is there. This is the path. It won't be a blind man's buff, a hide and seek, which is a big change. It doesn't mean there will be no problem, no challenges. It means that the journey will be now from light to greater light, from freedom to greater freedom. So this is how from truth to greater truth. not from falso asudoma sadgamya, tamsoma jyotirgamya, mrityor mamritam gamya. That will be replaced by lesser to greater truth. So what he sows the seed of aspiration. This is the story of Parijat. Mother has literally named it aspiration. A sacred yearning lingered in its trace. The worship of a presence and a power. Suddenly we become aware of the Divine Mother, Sri Aurobindo within. When earlier days, this has been different people's experience. Mine also, when I met someone, and I heard people who have been physically present during the mother's time, they would often say, when mother was here, when mother was here. And I would tell them that, sir, please don't say like that. I mean, for us, she has always been there. No, there is a difference. I don't know what difference you mean. Definitely there must have been a difference. But don't say was. You can say that there is a difference. But we have never felt that mother is not there. And all who are coming now are very fortunate. So they used to, I have heard people say, Ravindraji, I have heard someone who is still alive, so I won't name the person. He said, you people are very fortunate. Why? Because you didn't have to go through this human complication. Is she human? Is she divine? We connected with her very humanly for a human difficulty. Mother, dining room, I need this extra thing. Mother, this is the problem in my room. Mother, this is the problem in my relationship. Sometimes big problems, small problems. And a mother to our wants, a friend in our need and difficulties. She would keep giving us. But suddenly, when we don't see her physically, then we, even for these things, connect with her within. Because we never had a second option. And that's beauty and wonder. So that's the sacred yearning which lingers in its trace. The worship of a presence and a power too perfect to be held by death-bound hearts. So, death-bound hearts, ultimately, this form will also go away, degenerate. Mother says, all around are collective suggestions of death. Nothing will stay. Supermind, it is a myth. I don't know. People have asked such questions. I don't know. You are saying such things. Nobody has said this before. And even now we see. That's why Sri Aurobindo said, God shall grow up while the blind men talk and sleep. And belief shall be not till the work is done. So, death-bound hearts. And then finally, the prescience of a marvelous birth to come. So one reason is that divine's departure, Sri Aurobindo's departure, suddenly has awakened in the earth a new aspiration. And I am telling you, this is a proof for it. You see, 50 years back, maybe 100 years back, but 50 years back, even now, even in Hindu thought, which is so much deeply in spiritual, you ask, final goal is moksha. So many people even now talk about moksha. But now there are youngsters who say, no, this world must become a better place. A lot of people are turning atheist because they don't accept moksha as a very beautiful ending to a story with so much of struggle. This is something very new, and I have met so many people. I have met children who say, but this world should become a better place. And they ask such questions. Those questions that people ask Sri Aurobindo. And the answers to those questions were karma. God created the world. Now you are managing. Unfortunately, you mismanaged it. So you have to have the consequences. Even when you talk about Advait, God within, still your karmas. But for a change, the divine comes and bears the burden of man's karma. We have told this story several times of Maharaja of Baroda, that everybody picks up the, and puts the basket bundle back on the old woman's head. But a Maharaja should do something else. Ensure that she never has to lift up this weight. So divine's presence on matter frees it of the karma. What karma? The collective karma of mankind, which is stamped upon it, because of which mankind keeps turning in that groove. See what happened? First World War, Second World War. Now what happened after Second World War? Ideally, humanity should have gravitated down like this. So much hatred, jealousy, fear. But you see what happened? from 60s, suddenly there are flowered children springing up, new hope, people are wanting. It's a paradox. People don't understand, see it. But it has happened. Look at what happened 1947 within India. After almost, at least few hundred years of slavery, India becomes free. And it has been said that, well, India and Indians, no way. Better not to make them independent, because they will never be able to manage and govern themselves. People may give credit to politicians. Let's understand that really it was an impossibility. And we made so many blunders. And in spite of that, look at 75 years. What is this magic? How can so many generations and 1,000 years of spirit of slavery, though to an extent it is still there, but still it is rising, and the confidence which has come up. So the divine comes and washes stains from this chadar, this sheet, material sheet, because of which humanity turns in fixed grooves. So it washes the collective karma, and fortunately for the lucky privileged ones, the mother says, the karma of those who have opened and turned towards them in the spirit of service. Mother says grace can completely annul karma. Divine is the embodiment of grace, not of justice. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya duskritam is not about justice, about grace. And that grace, how does it do paritranaya sadhunam? Vinashaya, what does it destroy? It destroys the vrittis, the pravrittis. Otherwise, destroying a body of course, bodies also, but real thing is the vrittis. If they are not destroyed, the hubs of evil, then it doesn't take time to throw up another Hitler. Mankind will support it. But now, people are so conscious, careful. Oh, something like this shouldn't come. Why? Even those who have never faced it. Because he has cleaned. And those individuals who have turned to him, they redeem. That's why Mother says in one of the story of Bible, redemption by the grace. Incidentally, all avatars say this. It is not only Christ who says, I am the goal and the way, and those who have faith, he has wiped off, their blood or, that sins. Krishna says the same thing. He says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshishami mashucha. He also says, I am the door and I am the way. He also says, I will free you from all error and sin. Both are right. And Aurobindo is right. But in between, mankind has committed new things. So Aurobindo is required to cleanse this interim between Christ, Sri Krishna, then Christ came. Then of course we have Aurobindo. Mankind has done things, so there is a lot more stain. So Mother's grace that washes away. So this is the second action of the avatar. And then this beautiful line, the prescience of a marvelous birth to come. Aurobindo, that's why Mother says Aurobindo is the future. He does not belong to history. Why he does not belong to history? People now, no, we see saints, sages. She is saying he does not belong to history means you can't explain Aurobindo on the basis of all that has gone before him. All the saints, sages, realizations, all respectable, honorable people, one side. You cannot explain. He is from the future. That's why there is a new aspiration now. So he does not belong to history. You can't say that there is one more. In the history is natural progression. Suddenly there is, you can logically explain the sequence of events. You can't. Aurobindo is a breakaway from history, if anything. Look at the world after 1950. It is a breakaway world. Look at the world 2000 years before 1950. And look at the world as Shiv Kumarji just mentioned, 73 years after 1950. A new aspiration. A mass collective awakening of mankind to the truths of Sanatan Dharma. To the great truths that you find utterances here and there. Mankind is and to a new aspiration. that matter must be transformed, matter must be changed. This life here must become beautiful, must become perfect. So, Sri Aurobindo is the prescience. Prescience is foreknowledge. He came to give us what the new being will be like. People often have debates, seminars. What will the supramental race be like? So I tell them, read the life of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, you will have some idea. If you mentalize, you will create a caricature. Sri Aurobindo is the future. And then she says something very beautiful. Sri Aurobindo belongs to the future. Then she says Sri Aurobindo is the future. Marching, moving towards its own realization. So if he is already the future, where is he moving? So he is the future in the sense he has shown us the new possibility in his own body. It's a whole story about his life, one has to say. What are the possibilities that Mother and Sri Aurobindo have shown? Whether it be in terms of healing, in terms of, human dealings with plant, with animals, where we just take them as stories. It's a new way of dealing with the earth. The mother, the way she has dealt with plants, the way she has dealt with material nature, forces of nature. We see some stray hints here and there in the way back in some Vedic literature, stray hints of some individuals. But in human relationships, read that story toward the future and you will understand what people should do when they go through a... Otherwise, the standard answer was karma, your karma. Suffer your karma. Which makes no sense. Because you don't know, first of all, which karma. So, the divine opens this new possibility, and when we look at Mother and Sri Aurobindo, their own life, we will understand what the new future will be like. And still it is moving towards its own realization, meaning thereby, one is the example before us. Their influence, which remains always. Whenever people would say about coming to Pondicherry, the ashram, Pondicherry people can come for various reasons. They can come for wine and they can come for divine. So some create a heady mixture of the two, dangerous mixture. Wine is not only this wine we drink, but wine of money, wine of all the that which makes us unconscious. But the divine wine, which is something so beautiful. So, you would say to come to the place of central influence. They didn't say, because if you meet me, it will be very good. Interesting, right from beginning. The place of central influence. That's why people come to the Samadhi. So, example, influence, words they have left for us for few generations. Somebody just now before we started saying, if we can read, practice, yes, understand even before that. If we can just read Mother and Sri Aurobindo, it's a lifetime of sadhana one has done. What a legacy he has left for us, for the preparation, for the passage. And then, yet, it is not yet realized in all of us. So, moving towards its own realization. What is the future? Future is the collective transformation of mind. It's not individuals here and there. If there is an individual here and there, Mother and Sri Aurobindo would have gone ahead, 24th November 1926, transformed their bodies, sat on a golden throne with a crown of rarest jewels. They didn't want that. They said that the decision was spontaneous, whether we should go ahead, because after 24th November 1926, the plane of gods, the overmind lid was ready. It had opened now. Sri Aurobindo and the mother could have gone ahead with their individual transformation. The mother says, we had a choice, whether we should go ahead or we take humanity along. And then she says, and the choice was spontaneous. They didn't have to mentally think about it, whether we should. Automatically, nature sent, divine sent, all kinds of sample humanities. They could not abandon. And so they took us along. That delayed the process. And that's why the dread mysterious sacrifice. They could see that if we were to supramentalize, human beings will not even be able to conceive. Leave aside following the path. Even as such, people used to tell him that you are so much, so great. To follow this yoga, you need, Nirodha says, you need the heart of a Napoleon, the vital of or the vital of a lion, strength of a lion, and the mind of a Aurobindo. Aurobindo says, then I myself will be disqualified. So basically, he says he becomes human so that to activate it, to give a living example. So people were drawn. As he was proceeding, people's sadhana was also taking that route. To the extent that they could carry humanity, or no, to the extent that humanity allowed to be carried, they carried them. But what was happening, we see in 40s, especially after the school, the Second World War, people had taken them for granted. Oh, mother is there, Aurobindo is there. For most material needs, I know people who have been that time, they were telling once, somebody was sharing, that we were so foolish. Even now, many people, we were so foolish. We'll go to the mother and say, Mother, my college principal, there is a problem. Mother, my wife is a problem. As if divine can solve these relationships. Now, of course, her wives go and say, my husband is a problem. So there is a big change. But there is a problem. Somebody's child is a problem. Mother, my food in the dining room, I want something more. Mother, this, mother, that. Hardly anyone. Few were there. Where they knew that this is the time, this is the work. And mother speaks of them. You know, Amrit, Pavitra, they have waited. Nalini, all the rest, Pranab, they have waited for this moment. I cannot disappoint them. There were a few, handful. But the majority was life in ashram. Nice, good, do pranam, darshan, very good. Then go about life in the same way. Of course, living in this atmosphere, you can never be the same. It has its impact. But still, so Aurobindo, mother also described this experience. What is it in human beings that it doesn't respond? Divine is right in the middle. And he sees that entire unconsciousness, inconscient, which holds mankind back. It doesn't allow. So what does he do? He had a choice not to care, to abandon, which is precisely what he will never do. And so he plunges into the inconscient. But what happens when the divine plunges? He is tied with the supramental thread now. So as he plunges into the inconscient, the supramental consciousness linked to his body starts entering. When he reaches the other end, he fixes. So the bridge is built. But for that, he had to plunge into the unconscious, which meant taking upon himself all the deadliest possibilities. That's why when Nirodha asked him, that I have seen you cure others thousands of times with your force. I hope you are applying your force to cure yourself. He said, no. Why? Can't explain. You won't understand. And still, it is no death. He remains conscious even half an hour before. And people were so foolish that they said, coma. Aurobindo was never, he was conscious. Even 2nd December, the entire people have gone around him. 24th November, there is a darshan. Yes, he was going through these dips and highs because he was, he was plunging into the unconscious as a supreme strategic sacrifice. And as he was doing, the supramental force was coming down because it was connected to his body. So as he was doing it, and then we see that even on 4th December, he was in a state of trance. Yogis are known to do that. Time to time he would withdraw. That's why mother said, he has chosen to withdraw. He is withdrawing from his body. But then what a withdrawal. He would suddenly come back. Nirod, give me some water. Half an hour before. And Nirod brings water. And Nirodha describes, so often I wish he would now call me again. Nirod, give me some water. No? Krishna's story. This story is very interesting. This is about all of us. What is that water? I see it as love, which can tie you to me. I have done my best to tie myself to you. It is service. He doesn't need water. Through service, through love, we can link ourselves to Aurobindo. And then he calls Champaklal, gives him his embrace, and then he withdraws. What is this? Supreme strategic sacrifice. And as he withdraws, the supramental consciousness that he had brought with him, that was descending into his body, suddenly the gross frame is unable to take it. And yet, we see that though, because of his entry into the total inconscient, we see that there are all outer signs of death, but not the manifestations of death. Strange paradox. It's like a partial victory over material death. Victory over death they had achieved much earlier. That's a different subject. What is victory over death? It's several stages to become conscious of your soul. You're a victor over death. When you can withdraw yourself consciously, Ikshamrityu is a victory over death. Aurobindo obviously had those already. When you are immune to all other kinds of disintegration forces, except when you, like he took within himself, poisoning accidents. That is also a victory over death. And when you discover the infinite, it's a victory over death. In fact, that's a victory over death and birth both. Aurobindo is not just life beyond death. Aurobindo is beyond life and death. So these victories, it's a child play. Mother says it was so easy for us in our immortal consciousness of immortality to merge and come out. Long back. But partial victory over physical death, wherein the body substance was aglow with the light. Now people say that yes, there have been some rare instances of saints who died in every which way, but the body has been preserved. Yes, if you read through the stories, you will understand. They were under special conditions it has been preserved. And it can even be preserved by a yogic process through the vital superimposing on the physical. Not one instance where it was glowing with a supramental golden pinkish light, which was seen by many people. You can sometimes see it if you look at the picture carefully, but slowly it began to withdraw. But in the beginning, people saw it, and Mother made some people see it. Dr. Sanyal, for instance, he recounts it. So first time we see that, as if covered in a mantle, tens of thousands of people passing by. No artificial preserving methods. And Pondicherry, even December is quite humid and warm enough for Pondicherry. And for 5 days it doesn't show signs of death. 4 days, 100 hours, and then slowly it begins to show the signs, and Mother says, now we'll prepare to enter him in the Samadhi. So it becomes Aurobindo is the future moving towards its own realization. Then Mother says it was a supreme strategic sacrifice to hasten the collective realization that we have already spoken of. It hastens. How does it hasten? It hastens by awakening aspiration. It hastens by making it easier for matter to follow the movement of the universal movement toward the new creation. It hastens by wiping off the collective karma of mankind. It hastens because he is now working from behind. Much more easier and more powerful action. That's what the Mother said in 72 when a disciple asked. He says his action has become much more powerful because he is now universal everywhere simultaneously. But then in the physical, the working was specifically on matter. That's what he had come to do. And because he is working on matter, you have to be tied there. Partially, as Aurobindo says in the Mother, she is above, and partially she is here. But the moment you withdraw from the body, his action is far more powerful. You can receive an instant response. You can be anywhere in the world. And there are countless stories to that effect, which we need not, go into. There's so many, and it's not about testimonials. It's people are experiencing. That's why new people come, they join, they progress, they understand in their own way. In Hindi, there is a term, rodakte pudakte. stumblingly, fumblingly. But people are moving because something sustains. So, in so many ways, he prepares by showing us the promise. It can be done, and the time has come to do it. He awakens in man's heart the faith toward the future. Often I wonder, before Sri Aurobindo, what was the choice? Choice is between either a life of material, what shall I say? Even ignorance sounds very high qualified. Who can live only for believing only in matter as a reality? Any sensible person would think it's better to probably, call it quits. What is there if there is no divine? The other choice was moksha, nirvana. Extremely selfish choice. This was the choice. Where is hope between the two? Well, at least not for mankind, maybe for individuals. But now at least those who have a heart wide enough to embrace mankind, now we can say, yes, there is hope. Hope not just for me and you, but for earth, for humanity. And what a hope towards a glorious future, toward the eternal day, towards the sun that would never set again. How beautiful that life will be. Let me close with this message of the mother that she gave immediately on 7th December 1950. Lord, this morning thou hast given me the assurance that thou wouldst stay with us until thy work is achieved. So future moving towards its own realization. So that all of us can be carried along. Those who have joined the bandwagon will arrive. As simple as that. But those who are hesitating, doubting Thomases, it's up to you. One can wait. We don't know when the train will start moving from one step. I have seen some very fascinating dreams regarding this, especially in the recent times and earlier also. That how the time is pressing mankind to make a choice. Make a choice, you are through, you are picked up, because he is very vast. Sri Aurobindo's consciousness, whom will he take, has nothing to do with people in the ashram. That's a small little thing. But in the world, whoever is ready, wherever a person is, opens, come in. Yes, come in. That's how, and it is very intensified now, and it will go on for a few more years, or maybe a couple of decades, this choice. But once the decision is taken finally, we don't know what that moment, hour of God is over, then the rest falls back. Either integrates with the animal kind, we may witness some destructions of a pervert kind of humanity, but we'll also see the upliftment of a whole section, sudden upliftment. Because even now we are tied up to many, many human beings with a very evil proclivity. But when the time is there, because everybody is being given a chance. How many, what number, we don't know. But a time will come when divine will say, okay, now the baggage or the car is full, chariot of Jagannath, now it must go back. Who touched the rope, who witnessed the scene, they are redeemed. And then there will be a collapse of a section of humanity. And with its collapse, paradoxically, just like when a rocket goes up, it leaves behind things, and as it leaves, it picks up great speed. We will see a section of humanity, we don't know how many, which has opened to Sri Aurobindo and the mother take a radical leap. Who knows in what ways? That humanity is being prepared now. And the others are being given a chance. Not only as a consciousness which guides and illumines, but also as a dynamic presence in action. He is not just present. He is not only present, he is moving things, shifting things, changing the world order. We think it's all this is happening by chance. Some individuals, some politicians, some people are compelled to be what they would have never imagined to be. Because the divine has decided the hour is now. In unmistakable terms, thou hast promised that all of thyself would remain here. Not just consciousness and presence, all of himself, living, ever living Aurobindo. I won't even use the word ever living presence. Ever living Aurobindo. And not leave the earth atmosphere until earth is transformed. Where is he staying? In everybody's heart. Perfect place. This is where Aurobindo's Rome is. This is where his Samadhi is. Everybody. This Aurobindo describes in Essays on the Gita also. The fruits of the avatar's coming are received by whom? Those who follow him with faith. They become full of the divine, mad bhavam, mad gata. And becoming full of the divine, they take the leap. Grant. So what, from our side, what we have to do? This grace is there. Grant that we may be worthy of this marvelous presence. Aurobindo is amidst us. The mother is amidst us. But are we worthy? This is the only question we have to. Are we ready? Grant that we may be worthy of this marvelous presence, and that henceforth everything in us be concentrated on the one will to be more and more perfectly consecrated to the fulfillment of thy sublime work. What does it mean to be worthy? It's not that, oh, I am a very moralistic man, I am very worthy. Divine cares two hoots for our moral values. What is it to be worthy? A moral man very often is hardly thinking of the divine. He is very proud of his morality. I am a very fine person, hiding all the muck inside. A person full of vices still has a chance. He will say, I know, I seek your grace. Virtuous man, very difficult to convert. Mother speaks of all that. So what makes us worthy? One pointed will, sincere aspiration. I want this. What we want? Says, everything in us be concentrated on the one will. What should be the will? Oh, I must become supramental. No. I must become divine body, first body. No. All this is ego, ambition, aggrandizement. So what we must be concentrated on? Perfectly consecrated to the fulfillment of thy sublime work. Only because it is the work of the divine that it must be done, as a service of the divine. In whatever way to be connected to the divine, to Aurobindo and the mother, to serve them in whatever way. It doesn't matter. All these ideas, service is only here and there. All service is a spirit. One may be in the ashram and not serve because the spirit is not there. So many examples. Mother at one point even says, the spirit of service has passed away from this place. Service is spirit. Wherever we are, from today, from this moment, from tomorrow, whenever we wake up, let's live each day as if we are serving Aurobindo. When we cook, let it be the dining room. This is a sample, laboratory where he has shown this has to be replicated in life. When we meet with people, Aurobindo is there. He is watching over us. I am getting angry, I am quarreling. Is this what is worthy of being Aurobindo and the mother's child? So when we live life like that, then it is service of the mother and Aurobindo. By serving them, we serve truth. By serving them, we hasten the advent of the divine love upon earth. Ma.
Alokji, would you like to take a few questions if the participants want? How disposed, what's your time?
No, time is not the issue. Time is at their service. It's just that whether we would have questions and what. I am fine with questions, yeah.
If some of our readers, if some of our listeners have any questions, please you can put before all of them.
I think we should quietly meditate.
Yes, sir.
Ha.
Ramaswamy, sir.
Ha, please ask. Go ahead.
Dr. Saab,
Ha.
I have three questions.
Yes, please.
The first question is, where from is the mother now working?
I have a very simple answer. In every heart, in the earth atmosphere, in the subtle physical, and on all other planes, because she is not limited to one place. Being the mother, she is on every plane. She can simultaneously be in what we know as patal as well as in the supramental consciousness. So all these places simultaneously in every heart, in the earth atmosphere, in matter. In matter, she has said that Aurobindo leads and she goes, takes that lead. So all these together, human mind thinks as either or. So all of the above.
Thank you, sir. Is she with Aurobindo himself in his subtle world?
Yes, of course, and one can see her. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Saab, second question is this. In the Samadhi, there is a hymn of gratitude which has been engraved.
Yes.
The mother says to thee, who has been the material envelope of our master.
Yes.
If thee is Sri Aurobindo, to whom is she referring as our master?
So, very clearly, she is referring to, she has herself said, material envelope, which is the body that Aurobindo assumed. And always she referred to Aurobindo as the master. But that master is not a physical body. And this is a beautiful way even to remind us that it is not we should not make the mistake of thinking Aurobindo is the body. It is his body. So it is very special. It's like a house. House is special. Ashram is special because it is Aurobindo's ashram. But at the same time, Aurobindo is not just the ashram. This is the error we should not make. It's like house, somebody's house. So we can say that this is someone's house and it has a special atmosphere, special place. We may see the photograph. And it is true that something of the person is there in each of these things. But is the person the house only? No. So she is making it very specific that Aurobindo is always with us, but the material envelope. So she is saying that itself is conscious. Each cell of his body is burning with the supramental fire, that aspiration. That's why she is saying it's not just a body, and we have this in our tradition. We bow down before even the body. In Indian tradition, it's an inbuilt thing. We do pranam. So people often say, the person has gone, whom are you doing pranam to? Even this body that has borne the journey, it is a vehicle. It is the chariot of Jagannath, if you want to put it. Like we have the mother's car in the ashram. So the chariot itself is worshipped. We have this in our tradition. We have, Shri Krishna's chariot is a conscious chariot. We hear of Lord Rama when Daruk is sent with the chariot. So chariot is the body, but this is not ordinary chariot. This is the divine's chariot. It's a very, very special body. So that's why she is referring to the body. Material envelope. Not even the body in full, but the material envelope. Master is Aurobindo, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
In 1925, Sri Aurobindo, in 23 to 26, he used to have a meeting with the
Yes, sadhaks.
on his birthday.
Yes.
On the 25th, in 1925, on 15th August, he had a meeting.
Yes.
Now the disciple, one of them asked, well, are there several conditions more ready now for the coming down of the Superman?
Yes.
Before?
Yes.
That was the question.
Yes.
Bhagavan answered in 4 parts.
Yes.
increased so much,
Yes.
and that it is on the verge of breaking its own.
Boundaries, limits, yes. Knowledge of the physical world, yes.
Yes.
First sign of the supermind, earth being ready for the supermind, yes.
That is that. Secondly, he said there is an attempt all over the world towards breaking the veil between the outer and the inner.
Yes,
vital,
yes, yes,
the outer and the inner vital,
yes.
the outer and the inner physical.
Yes, subjective sciences started. People started taking interest in psychology, hypnosis, afterlife. All this is in 1900. Yeah.
So man have become more and more psychic. That is what he said.
Yes, yes.
The third is the most important thing, which is what I wanted to get hold of. The vital is
Yes.
trying to lay its hold on
Yeah.
the physical
Ah.
as never before.
Yes. So we see these rise of men all over the world with a strong vital force. Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, they were one example. But during that time, we had people with a very strong vital, not strong in that sense, but people who were basically vital beings. And they had entered into the earth atmosphere to stir, to create revolution, to create chaos. But all this ultimately ended up churning matter. That was the upshot of all this. Yes, yes,
That is, he said, he mentioned it about the
yes,
strong men wielding influence over a large number of
yes,
people.
yes,
But before that, he said, because there is a lot of pressure
yes,
coming down, the vital throws up hostile forces,
yes,
and that take the form of many people becoming mad,
yes,
more mad.
yes,
And he specifically mentioned earthquakes.
yes,
So earthquake means we can include volcanoes.
yes. All physical disasters. Yes, yes, yes,
No, when mother came on the 1920, on 24th November
yes,
1920,
yes.
there is a big cyclone and she moved into
Yes.
Aurobindo bungalow in the cyclone.
True, true.
Now, there have been many cyclones, and presently we are reading that the African continent is getting divided into two because of volcanic activity from the core of
Ha, sir, if we can shorten the question, because otherwise, this will be a whole. Yeah, if you can tell us the question. Yes, these signs are mentioned. So, is there a specific question?
sign, these earthquakes and these cyclones,
Yes, yes.
do they indicate that the truth is going to descend?
It's there predicted, even the Bhavishya Purana speaks of that. Because it is the same action applied upon matter as well as on material nature. So upheavals, it is there in the Bhavishya Purana that material nature will act in a chaotic way. Because it's a churning of matter. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Yeah, yeah.
It can be regarded as sign of a
Yeah.
truth trying to descend.
Yes, yes. Sri Aurobindo himself spoke about it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, so I think we can close here. I'll probably like to read. We can have a question answer session one day because it's such a special day. And I can read this. I would like to close with this. Beautifully, it has been mentioned the inscription on the Samadhi. So, what should be our response of gratitude? 9th December 1950. To thee, who hast been the material envelope of a master, to thee our infinite gratitude. Before thee, who has done so much for us, who has worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much. Before thee, who hast willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us. Before thee, we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to thee.
Thank you, Dr. Alokji. Let's all concentrate ourselves to the divine work and be worthy of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo's grace.
Yes.
And we'll close this meeting with a short Sunil Das music.
Yes.
Just kindly stay with us.
Yes. Yes.